Good afternoon to the viewers who have joined us today in this meet. I am Pranjali Srivastava, a second year student from Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics, designated content writer for the OWASP Club, along with Chinmay Inamdar, a second year student from CSE Core, also content writer. Today, we stand here presenting to you proudly OWASP Club's inaugural function. On this auspicious occasion, joining us today are Dr. Pushpinder Pateja sir, our mentor, Dr. R. Rakesh sir, our faculty coordinator, who is also the program chair of cybersecurity and digital forensics, Dr. D. Sarvanan sir, our faculty co-coordinator, along with our guest of honor, Ms. Vandana Verma ma'am, security solutions architect at SYNC.
OWASP, ladies and gentlemen, stands for Open Web Application Security Project. In OWASP's own words, it is a non-profit foundation that works to improve the security of software. Through community-led open source software projects, hundreds of local chapters worldwide, tens of thousands of members, and leading educational and training conferences, the OWASP Foundation is the source for developers and technologists to secure the web. It provides its patrons with various tools and resources, a vibrant community that provides great networking opportunities along with education and training.
For nearly 2 decades, corporations, foundations, developers, and volunteers have supported the OWASP Foundation and its work. OWASP API Security Project focuses on strategies, solutions to understand and mitigate the unique vulnerabilities and security risks of application programming interfaces. It includes the most recent list, API Security Top 10 2019.
Moving further, let us look at a video to have a better understanding about OWASP.
And security risks of application programming interfaces. It includes the most recent list, API Security Top 10 2019.
Hello everyone, myself
Moving
Priya
further,
Sharma. I am
let us look at
president
a
and
video
founder
to have a
of
better
OWASP VIT
understanding
Bhopal
about
University
OWASP.
student chapter. So let's talk about OWASP. Application security and software is simply one of the most important steps in the planning for development.
And
After
security
all,
risks
the
of
level of
application
reliability
programming
is what will determine
interfaces.
its
It
success. For
includes the
example,
most recent
this will
list,
be
API
reflected in the number of
Security Top
active
10
users in
2019.
the application. Hello and there is
Moving
no
further,
way to
let us
talk
look at a
about
video to have a
security
better
without
understanding
mentioning
of
Bhopal
OWASP.
University student chapter. First of all, I will say OWASP name is application security and software. OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project. It is a worldwide free and open community, or we can say non-profit organization focused on improving the security of software. Its mission is to make application security visible so that people and organizations can inform decisions about the application security risk.
Hi, my name is Nihal. I'm the Vice President of OWASP VIT Bhopal chapter. So, let me begin by telling you how does OWASP works. So, the group supporting the project is composed of a range of web security specialists spread all over the world. They share their knowledge and experience of existing vulnerabilities, threats, attacks, and countermeasures. The idea is to gather the most important information that allows the assessment of security risks and the ways to fight them effectively. Now, let us discuss the importance of OWASP. So, OWASP is a free and open source community project that provides an absolute wealth of knowledge, tools to help anyone involved in the creation, development, testing, implementation, and support of a web application to ensure the security is built from the start and that the end product is as secure as possible. Among the main benefits that OWASP provides to companies and IT professionals, we can highlight the following. First, helps make applications more armored against cyber attacks. Then, helps reduce the rate of errors and operational failures in systems. Then, contributes to stronger encryption, increases the potential for application success, improves the image of the software developer company. Now let's come to OWASP VIT Bhopal student chapter. It is one of the OWASP local chapters. OWASP local chapter built community for application security professionals around the world. It provides a lot of opportunities like training to improve your skills, talks relevant to your work, network opportunities, participation in CTFs, and much more.
Hello everyone, my name is Tuhun Bose and today we are going to solve a very simple hack the box lab. So here is the IP of the lab and we are already connected to the OpenVPN. So let's start. First we will start with a simple nmap scan. I will simply open my CMD and a simple scan we will do. So yeah, it will take some time. I have already done it. So let me just directly show you the output. Here is the output of this scan. So as you can see, it found that port 21 is open, and we all know that by default FTP service runs on port 21. The version is BSA FTPD 3.0.3, and as you can see here, it is showing anonymous FTP login is allowed. So what is anonymous FTP login? Anonymous FTP login is something that if it is enabled, then you can directly log into a FTP server using the username and password as anonymous. Means simply if you just log in with the username anonymous and password anonymous, then it will allow you to download the files and see the infos, everything. So it falls under OWASP top 10 vulnerability. If I just show you my screen, that anything that permits default passwords or weak passwords or well-known passwords like password, or let's say username admin password, or username admin password also admin, or username root password root. This kind of things falls under OWASP top 10 identification and authentication failures. So let's see whether the anonymous FTP login is allowed or not. So what I will do, I will simply try to log in with the FTP server using the username anonymous and password anonymous. So let's try FTP space in the IP address of the server. So it is asking me for the username. I will simply type anonymous. Now it is asking me for the password. I will again type anonymous. And if it allows me to log in, then it, simply anonymous login is enabled and it's a vulnerability. Otherwise, we can simply move on. See, security login successful. That means we are allowed to log in via anonymous. So by default, this anonymous service is enabled. And if you want to disable anonymous service in your FTP server, what you can do, you can simply edit the configuration file and set the anonymous login as false. So we are logged into the FTP server. Let's see what files are available. See, a flag.txt file is available. What I can do, I can simply type get flag.txt, download the file. So I guess it is downloaded. Let me see. If I just simply do cat flag.txt, see, we got the flag. That's all from my side. Thank you.
I hope you all must have gotten a brief about the OWASP Club. I would now invite Rakesh sir to speak a few words in the context.
Yeah, thank you, Pranjali. So, I welcome you all for the inaugural function of our OWASP VIT Bhopal club chapter. So, as the students have clearly explained, like what is OWASP and how is it necessary for the students to learn about web application security, I hope the students went through the beautiful video that was handcrafted by the students. And I would just like to keep it simple and I would tell you how data is ruling the world nowadays. So you know that day by day we are generating a lot of data. So be it in your Instagram or be it in your Snapchat or whatever social media or even Twitter for the sake. So we keep generating data in large amounts of volume. And what does it do? It data analytics, or you can say a part of machine learning. And then we also have the security aspect of safeguarding the data. So you, in one hand, you have the data that is being generated in large volumes, which you need to analyze properly in order to extract some patterns and maybe take an advantage out of it, which is what Google actually does. And it is very good in doing it, thereby being the world leader also. So they provide ads based on whatever you generate as data, and they try to map the data towards the single user ID. So you must have, if you do not know, go through your mobile phones, be it Android or Apple OS. So in iOS, you obviously have Apple ID, which is being mapped with your specific username. So there is no running away without Apple ID. You can't use your Apple mobile iPhone. So similarly, when it comes to Android, Google has a separate identifier called Google identifier. So with which they map who does what, or what is the data that this particular user is generating. So in that way, when the data is being generated, they need to safeguard it. So on one hand, you generate the data, on the other hand, you safeguard it. So we will be particularly dealing with how you can secure the amount of data that is being generated. So be it web application security or mobile security. So that is Microsoft with Windows or Google with Android or Apple with their iOS. Everyone is vulnerable. Apple, they say they are like less vulnerable. It's because they have only less number of devices to actually go through code testing, vulnerability testing, and etc. Thereby leaving Google open to the world for many vulnerabilities to happen. But I don't think even Apple is safe in that regard. So as Tuhin, the secretary, was showcasing the vulnerability with default passwords. So now it's time, I hope you can go back to your homes and check your home devices like the routers and the desktops that you use, where you use the default passwords. So it's easy if you are connected to the internet, where a user can easily log in through the default passwords and can gain access to the system in case of vulnerability or an open port is found. So you will be dealing, or you will be learning about how to close the connections, how to not allow the remote access, and how do you safeguard the different ports that exist in your operating systems, and how to limit the access to those. So these kind of real-time training in education doesn't happen with respect to your curriculum. So your curriculum teaches a lot of basic topics or different diverse topics, but being very nitpicky or being very specific to a particular topic or an idea is not possible through the education curriculum. So that's where your fundamental club chapters and technical webinars and so on come up to the rescue. So through trainings, through webinars, talks, and resource people like giving us some hands-on training. So these kind of activities will help you get that real-time data or the real-time training on how each of the aspect with respect to your applications or the operating systems that you use come into picture. And I hope the education curriculum also changes in the future with respect to real-time training. So through OWASP, this is the plan that we have in picture for you. So we will be having a multitude of trainings, webinars, talks that will help you keep abreast amongst others when it comes to the domain of web application security. And in turn, it will help you on better so that you can go and participate in like over the world events like Google Summer of Code program. So I suppose from our university, like VIT University, there are 2 students who went ahead and participated last year in the Google Summer of Code program. So I hope many students gets the way and be better prepared to participate in the future versions. So thank you.
Hello. Thank you, sir, for the information that you briefed us with. Savanand, sir, I would request you to guide us further.
Yeah, so very good afternoon, everybody. So coming here to talk about the OWASP, that is modern organizations are heavily relying on the software system. So here, when it comes to the basic point of OWASP, that how the students can develop and how they can use the benefits of this OWASP community and all those things. secure coding. So all we start used to to code for the particular software or the applications or all those things. So secure coding standards is going to be very significant, and that is going to give the assurance that software going to be installed any of the organization system, and how it is going to be protected from the various security flows. So when it comes to the security standard, that is to be used correctly and can avoid as well as the identify many loopholes as well as the problems. So when it goes to the development stage, that software uh, for the various portable gadgets as well as the application, so desktop systems, and then the servers, and all these things, following all the applications, and those applications are following set up the standards as well as the security. Secure coding is going to critical for the modern software development. There is some survey, it says that according to the Software Engineering Institute, what the software architecture or coding flows are is going to be responsible as it is almost 90% of security problems. So that is why the safe coding techniques as well as the guidelines are going to be very critical. And where we will be getting and where we are going to infer the information from the, like CERT coding standard, you may have heard about this, and then common weakness enumeration. And apart from this, what OWASP is providing is very meticulous secure coding criteria. So when it comes to the technological measures, it is going to related to minimizing the various incidents of software bugs, or the what are the checklists or the criteria given OS that is going to be followed. And coming to the web applications, and then their the architectures are the primary utilization in the modern software world as well as the users. So with this, what the students they are going to from the VIT Bhopal, the OWASP, what they are going to infer, or how they are going to get various skills as well as how various trainings, and then the hackathons, and then the blogs, and then this various student chapters, and how they are going to focus their activities and going to gain more skill as well as some of the certifications, which is going to be helpful for the their future as well as the development of OWASP community as well. So with this, I'm concluding my note. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your guidance. I would now like to invite Vandana ma'am to motivate the students through her words of wisdom. Vandana ma'am, everyone, is the chair of the OWASP Global Board of Directors. She leads diversity initiatives like InfoSec Girls and WOSEC. She has been keynote speaker and trainer at various public events, including Global OWASP, AppSec, and besides.
Vandana ma'am is also a member of Black Hat Asia Review Board, as well as multiple other conferences, including Grace Hopper India, OWASP AppSec USA, to name a few. She has been the recipient of multiple prestigious awards like the Cybersecurity Woman of the Year Award 2020.
She has also been listed as one of the top women leaders in this field of technology and cybersecurity in India by InstaSafe. She has trained over 10,000 plus diverse candidates in cybersecurity. Ma'am, I would request you to please enlighten us more about OWASP.
Thank you so much, Pranjali and Chinmay. And thank you so much to all the professors and everyone who was actually kickstarting the OWASP Club. I'm really happy to see that. And I'm always very connected to the college. When OWASP student club was inaugurated around 2020, I was invited as a chief guest. And it's always an honor to be part of VIT Club. It makes me feel happy like when I'm connected with college. So a little bit about my background, most of the things they've said, but a lot of people think that OWASP is my paying job. OWASP is my volunteer work, which I do with the community. But my paying job is with a company named Sneak, SNYK. So the name is So Now You Know. And it's sort of a startup, but not a startup. It's a $8 billion company, just 1,000 people, but still feel like it's home. So I'm setting up India operations for Sneak. We're just growing soon, so we would start hiring people as well. About OWASP, my journey with OWASP started back then in 2012, when I was introduced to application security out of the blue. So I was working in network security, hacking firewalls, configuring the hardware firewalls, going to the client's office when I was working for Wipro. It was a very nice opportunity. But then when I switched the cities from Pune to Bangalore, I was asked to take care of application security out of the blue. I was never imagining that ever I would be taking care of application security. But I think that one decision where my boss asked that you have to take care of application security, I took it up and learned what was the aspect. And even then, for 1 year, I knew that OWASP was just a testing guide or a top 10. Trust me, that was my assumption and nothing else. In 2013, I met one of the chapter leaders for OWASP Bangalore at one of the trainings. And that too, that's a serendipity. I was not getting any ride back home. So there were few people who were clubbing. And this person said, you can also club with us. I'll leave you halfway through and then it'll be easy for you to get a ride home. And I did. And while we were all in the car, he was discussing, why don't you all join OWASP and Null Bangalore? It's like, is there something like that happens? Then I got to know that there are meetups which happen regularly, monthly. So I started going, but then I was very on and off because there were very few women who used to be there. But after a while, after a year or so, there was one thing which clicked. If I don't go regularly, how would I assume that other people would go regularly? So I started going regularly. In 2016, I got an opportunity to be a chapter leader. So the chapter leader who actually introduced me to OWASP in 2013 asked me that I'm stepping down because I'm starting my own company and I need to look at that. So would you be interested in taking up that opportunity? Again, food for thought, whether you want to take it up or no. So I took up that opportunity and became part of OWASP. So,
Chinmay, can you mute Dr. Saravanan?
Sure, sir.
thank you. Then OWASP was setting up Women in AppSec. Women in AppSec was setting up globally, and I was from India. I nominated myself and got to be on the board of OWASP Women in AppSec. That was a smaller part of it, but then that introduced me to bigger OWASP. I never thought I could ever be a chair for OWASP. Like, OWASP is a big community around the world. There are hundreds and thousands of companies associated with it. OWASP is considered as like a standard, even though it's a risk rating or risk vulnerabilities, but with top 10 that comes out. I never thought that I could be ever on the board. I never imagined even. But in 2019, OWASP, with my work with the community, they said, would you like to be a keynote speaker for us? That was the moment wherein I thought, do I really deserve it? Those FOMOs, those things that like whether I can do it or not kicked in. But then there were two friends of mine who actually knew till the time it was formally announced on the website that I'm giving a keynote. I discussed it with them. See, there was one thing, whether you take it or leave it. These are the two options you have in life. When like you study, whether you give the exam or you don't, pass or fail is secondary. That will happen based on the performance. But then you giving that try is very important. You taking that first step to study something new is the first step. I prepared for that keynote for a good 2 months because I was scared. When everybody got to know, they said, you're the first Indian to be a keynote speaker for a OWASP stage. There'll be so many organizations, there'll be government official, US government official, because it was happening in Washington, DC. I was dead scared. I'll be honest. I always have those cold feet when I am doing something new, but then I wanted to do it. You have to do something which can change. I gave that keynote that was rated as the best keynote for the conference. After that, OWASP board elections. Again, that was the talk of the town at Black Hat, USA. That, do you really want to try? Like, you have a family, you have a job, you have a kid. Can you do it? And you have so many things to travel around. Would you be able to manage it out? It is not possible again. Never ever an Indian has been on the OWASP board. There are always white dudes, and it's always very difficult to discuss things, to put your point across. And it was never that I'm a woman. The one good part was never ever a person said that you're a woman and you should not try. They said you're an Indian, but never ever an Indian has tried. So that was one good part that I found. It's like, when I was discussing at home, there was one question which came: do you want to try it? I said, I want to try it. Then what can happen? Either you get to be on the board, you get the votes from the people around the world, or you don't get. So you'll be on the board or you don't. When you get on the board, if you don't like, if you are not able to do what is intended, you can always step down. There are other people to take up the opportunity. I said, okay, let's give it a try. There were a lot of people rooting for me. They had trust in me that I can do it. So when the elections results came out in 2019, October, I won with the highest votes, like highest number of votes any candidate has ever got. And then actually the journey started. I became a treasurer for the first year. So I was managing the money for a big organization, which I've never done it. And then COVID hit. And I was like, what's happening? Whether OWASP will survive or not, that was the big question. How exactly we would live by all the grants, supporting chapters, projects. There are so many things which OWASP has. Like, how would it happen? But understanding the things. And now OWASP is in like really plus. So the second year, I became a vice chair. Now, that was the time when they had to change the bylaw, because never ever a woman has become a vice chair. So the title was a vice chairman, and they changed it to vice chair. They actually did not let me feel any left out, to be very honest. It never felt like that I'm a woman, I'm an Indian, I'm an Asian. It never felt like. The first month when all the people were discussing, because boards, you have to put your point and you have to get the votes for that point. It's called motion. Because for anything, even like a company, when you're putting an idea, it has to be approved. So if it's 7 members, 4 members have to approve, including you. So 3 other members have to be in agreement. So the first month, I didn't speak at all. I was quiet. I was nervous. Like, what if I'll say wrong? The very second month, again, the same fights happened. But then I said, and it was a little tone up, that can you please stop? I want to say something. That was the only time I used those words. But then that made me learn. It is never like anyone would stop us. If you have a point, share it with other people. That'll make you grow. For example, when this year, now I became a vice chair. This year I wanted to be like the chair. But again, I was nervous whether I'll be able to do it or not. It's not other people have trust in me. But when I stood up, nobody else actually raised their hands. They said, we wanted you to say that you want to be a chair. So again, the election was unanimous. I became the first ever Asian Indian chair. That was a proud moment for me. But then also it's a learning for me that it's a community. You have more responsibility towards it. Now, similarly, when we are setting up a chapter in OWASP VIT Bhopal, all of you have a responsibility. It's not a title, president, vice president, anything. It's about your responsibility that people are included in all the learning opportunities. OWASP keeps sharing a lot of free resources. A lot of free trainings are there. I would say you should all take benefited out of it. I keep sharing a lot of free certifications. So this week, there was a conference called Texas Cyber Summit, which is one big summit that happens in Texas, US. I had 25 passes because there was a collaboration that happened. And they said that we have passes available. So when these clubs actually get built, make sure you get more and more resources out of it. Certifications. Organizations are ready to sponsor free certifications. Last year, Comshare gave us 25 certification passes for CYSA Plus, which is a good beginner certification for security people. So that's a good one. Wherein, why would you pay $300 to do a certification when you can get it for free? But then there's a condition attached to it that you need to learn and you need to pass that certification. When somebody is putting in trust in you, you have to abide by that. And same ways, you have to enable others as well who are part of the club. When you keep stepping up, you have to make sure there are others also stepping up with you. There are others also who are taking step further with you. There are so many communities that you can be part of, not just OWASP. Even though I'm part of OWASP, I'm associated with Black Hat, which is a conference which happens in US, Europe, and Asia. Asia, it happens in Singapore. US, it happens in Vegas. Europe, it happens in London. So Black Hat is one of the big conference. Now start working towards making sure your research. Now clubs always come out with good research. Start preparing papers. Start putting in those conferences. Get your name out there that you are from VIT Bhopal and you can speak at those conferences. And not just Black Hat. There are many other conferences which keep happening in India. Nalcon is one big conference which happens in Goa. Then besides Delhi, besides Ahmedabad. Start getting associated with those people. I'm sure that everyone cannot go. Like I can't go everywhere, but then I have friends, mentors who actually guide me. Okay, this can be a good opportunity to be at place. Or if you couldn't go, this was a good talk. If it's recorded, let me go ahead and share it with you. You can listen to that talk. So do all of those things. Student chapter doesn't mean that you just go ahead and set up those sessions and be done with it. No. When you are in the session, learn from them. I've been volunteering at many conferences intentionally. I'll tell you the reason why. Because I get to learn from them. I was speaking at Black Hat this year. Black Hat paid for my travel and stay in US. But a friend of mine was giving a cloud security training, which I've been wanting to learn from a very long time. I understand cloud security. I've worked on cloud environments. I've set up a cloud environment for a company, but then Kubernetes, and there are so many new things that keep coming up. You have to keep yourself updated. So what should I do? And that training costs really huge amount. So I just put it across that I want to do this training and it can be a good learning. And this person, what he said, that would you like to volunteer for my training? So it's a 4 days of volunteering because it's a 4-day long training. What I learned, I volunteered, so I got a trainer tag. That was a big thing for me. I got the training content for free. I learned a lot. Now I can share the same knowledge with others as well. So when you get a chance to learn new things, never ever lose the chance. It never is like, oh, is it too early? Is it too late? No, I'm in my 40s, to be very honest, even though if I look at like or not. But then I make sure that every day there is something new that I'm learning. It doesn't matter where you are, what do you do? Always keep learning new stuff. Now, OWASP, you've just started, but there could be another thing. I think VSIS also has a chapter in VIT Bhopal because I spoke once. Just get collaborated with them. There are so many good trainings which VSIS also gets done. So you should get out of it. Another thing is that if you can do that, have a newsletter, because with newsletter, you can share the new news, what's happening in the industry. Software security industry is very much booming. We all have to accept whatever we say. Now, supply chain attacks are becoming big. So even the US government to UK government to everyone is talking about supply chain, SBOMs, which are called software bill of materials. What an organization wants when you leave your college is something that you have, the knowledge that you have. They don't want you to be perfect. If I'm hiring someone, I don't want anyone to be perfect. When I was at IBM, I've taken views from people from IIT Kanpur, Kharagpur, and Roorkee, and where not. Not everybody knows everything. They know about their project. So what is the thing is that what you do, you should know about it. If you're working on a project, know in and outs of it. You don't need to be a security champion. No one expects you to be a security champion. After 18 years also, I can say that I don't know everything. There's always new things that come my way. So always keep learning, but make your path. Decide what you want to do. There are 10 things. There's something which you like, spend more time on that, but don't lose other things. So my father says that always play with your strengths, which means just keep brushing them, just keep improving them. Don't crib on what you don't have, but what you can do is learn. You would never be 100%, and it's fine. No one expects you to be 100%. It's only you who compete. And when we talk about competition, always compete with yourself. Trust me, you'll always be content and you'll always be happy and you'll always be learning new things. So when I am on LinkedIn, there are new people, there are people whom I admire, there are people who are sharing good stuff about Kubernetes, IoT security. So because that's one area where I want to get into, I want to learn more about. So what I do is I craft a message, send one-to-one message to these people that I want to connect with you and I want to actually learn from you. Now, when I'm learning, there's another thing that happens is on LinkedIn, when you share a connection request, people actually see what you have shared also. So start documenting. And there's never ever too early, too late. I wouldn't name a CISO. He was a CISO for a very big company where I worked. So this guy was sitting with me on one of the coffee tables by out of the blue. Trust me, I was mesmerized because this person is sitting with me and talking to me. This person said that, oh, your profile looks so good on LinkedIn, but why don't you start writing blogs? I said, I'm not a blogger. I am not a good technical writer. They said, it's okay. You don't have to be a good technical writer. You don't have to be a good writer. Just share your perspective, what you know, what you learn. And the another thing that he added is that if you read my blogs, I talk about snake and ladder. I actually relate everything to chess, to the games that I play. It's easy for me to articulate. Then I realized I actually start giving examples related to my house. Anything that's not working, anything that I messed up. For example, the chandeliers, the jhumar, what people call it as. My brother got a jhumar and he was very fascinated by it. And it was Bluetooth operated. Now, there are tons of Bluetooth hacks which are available on the internet. I was playing around with it. And one fine day when he was not at home. And what I did, everyone was working. I was on vacation to Delhi. So at home, I started playing around and I found a perfect hack. Now, when everyone comes in the evening, so when I go home, there's always like a big feast. It's like a big Punjabi family where everyone comes in and have food together when there's a big festival, something. So now everyone is eating food, everyone is happy, chit-chatty, and then I ran this hack from my phone. Now this tumor can't stop spinning and everyone spooked out that what has happened. Like, is it a booth or something that has come? No. It is like the small things that actually make a change. So I always talk about cybersecurity. Security. Earlier, they never understood what cybersecurity is, but then a lot of people talk about it, so they understand that what it is. We have this 4-digit passwords or 6-digit password or whatever. Similarly, on one of the vacation, I went home. My father says that, oh, you talk about security now. I have a security on my phone. I have a pattern lock. Trust me, it takes seconds to unlock that pattern lock. So it's like, wow, that's amazing that you did a good job. I said, like, can I just see it? Yeah, you can see it, but you can't open it. You can't see anything. That's what you do all the time. Like, you check out how much secure I am and what's happening with us. I just ran a simple script on their phone after connecting it to my laptop and it was unlocked. And I was like, now I'm taking back with me. Like, then I had to tell them, when you update your phone, you update because you want to make sure that the software is fine. There are things which are fine. Similarly, when you are in a community and you know something, teach other people. Trust me, it'll stay there with you forever. Because then you're telling them and share it with them in the form of examples. Like I learn everything. I cannot learn scripted things. I learn with examples, which stay with me forever. And cybersecurity is again something, or IT is something where you can't just bug up. You have to understand. That's why you have professors who actually teach you. So learn the best out of them. They're there to give you all the attentions. Now, though, I think the most of the colleges have opened in person. So learn the best. I used to be the person who used to like eat up my professor's head for anything that's stuck in my head. If I don't have an answer, I always try and get answers to those. I have made notes. I still have a lot of notepads and pens where I make notes. Do all of these things. Connect with people. When I joined the IT field, there was no community, or there was no place where I could say that I can connect with other people. Now you have all the opportunities. There are conferences which give free passes. If you still have doubt where to get it, reach out to me. I keep sharing on my LinkedIn. I would love to share it with you as well. Be it for any Indian conference, be it anywhere you want to try outside. Like Black Hat gave so many student passes to travel to Singapore. So they will give you Black Hat Asia, I'm talking about. So you have to just fill your application right. They will pay your stay, they will pay your pass, and even travel to some extent. It's a good opportunity where you get to meet wonderful leaders, people who are researching, the people who are learning. There were so many people from India. Like there's a big Indian hackers gang that's always there, and there's a mandatory pick that's click. So there are opportunities that you have to get benefited out of it, and that's the power of community. Like whoever thought? I never thought that I could be a chair for OWASP. I never in my wildest dream thought that I could be at a place where any software company would actually invite me to speak. From SAP to Wipro to HCL to Infosys, I've spoken at all of their events. I never thought that I would be I would be at this place where people would just say that, okay, can you come and speak? It's an opportunity, grab it. But yes, I always feel fascinated when I am speaking at any college. I have no idea why, because it's always feels special and I feel connected. I still feel that learning should never stop, whatever age, whatever part of your career you are. It'll only make you grow. I think that's what I'm going to say. I've given a lot of gyan, but if you have any questions, I'm up for it. Chinmay, Pranjali,
Thank you,
Rakesh,
ma'am, for
anyone?
informing so much. Hello. Thank you, ma'am, for informing so much about OWASP, accomplishing something that has not yet been done by anybody else. With a you can do it all attitude is a big achievement indeed. You and your work are certainly an inspiration for all the women in the field of cybersecurity, and I'm sure it helped the attendees a lot in understanding the entire spectrum of cybersecurity. We are grateful for your presence. As we move towards the end of this inaugural ceremony, if you have any doubts or questions, we are here to help you get through them.
Yeah, there are some doubts in the comment section. Ma'am, one of the questions is, what are some trending technologies that one should learn in 2022?
Thank you so much. And if anyone has any questions, anything, please do feel free to reach out to me over LinkedIn, over Twitter. I'll be more than happy to be of any help anywhere. It'll be an honor.
Ma'am, there are some questions that you could help us with right now.
Yes, please. Can you please share what specific events will OWASP chapter like CTFs, career guidance? CTFs are a good way, career guidance, a good way. I think you can start hosting some meetups where people can come and talk, where people can actually share information, like monthly events. Even if you want, I can ask OWASP to sponsor some swags for the students who actually come and join. I can get some swags, I can send it to Bhopal, and we can get something for the students who join for the first meet, so that they feel, yes, there's something which is happening in the college. Another interesting aspect is that you can actually have a monthly newsletter where you share different events, not just OWASP events, because OWASP events happen in different parts of the world. In November, there is a conference happening in San Francisco, if someone wants to join. And another thing is that OWASP online conference. I'm not sure if there's any online conference coming soon, because the one in November in US and there's another one in February in Dublin. Okay, what is the supply chain attack? I'll come to that. Now, other thing is that OWASP has a channel. You can actually search on YouTube. You would be able to find it. Another interesting aspect, go to owasp.org, go to projects. It's very, very important to go to projects because there are so many different projects that are there. If you have any questions about the projects, please do let me know. I am running a series called OWASP Project Spotlight, which will give you an information about what is it, this project is all about in 15 minutes. You can run your own application security program. And for students, there are so many free resources that are there. GitHub has a free account for you, which I'm paying every year. So you can have a free account where you can host applications, you can fork applications, you can run GitHub actions. I'm sure you would be new to it, but if you want, I can actually keep sharing resources so that it will be helpful for you to learn. These are some basic things, but trust me, if you learn now in college, you wouldn't have to struggle for jobs, especially in cybersecurity. There are not many good people. There are not many people who understand these things. If you already have a knowledge, it is going to be really good for you. This is a good question. What skills do a company expects for a penetration tester? I would say learning about different aspects. When you talk about penetration tester, I've been a network security penetration tester. I've been an application security penetration tester. So you have to decide what kind of penetration tester you want to be. And whether you want to go in network, you want to go in applications. So you can download Kali Linux. That's the first way to start off. That's what I did. I actually, if I want to learn about applications, there are so many vulnerable applications which are there. In 2012, there used to be only one. That used to be WebGoat, OWASP WebGoat. Now there are tons of it. There are tons of applications which are vulnerable, where you can see how a vulnerability look like. And if you still want to try, don't try on the actual application, but there are applications which are in part of HackerOne, Bug Crowd. You can do sort of a bug bounty, but then you can try your hands on those, whether vulnerability works. So they'll pay you to find bugs in them. If you want to try a network, then there are network security tools which are there as part of Kali Linux. It's a big box. Another thing is that subscribe to a newsletter. For example, I learn a lot from Bleeping Computer. I have recorded future subscription, where if there's new vulnerability that comes in, there's a new bug that comes in, there's a new breach that happens, I get an alert that, okay, this has happened. Yesterday itself, there's a big breach that has happened and a big magazine has shut down their operations. You just have to look for that and you'll find out. Last week, Thursday, there was a company who was just hacked out of the blue, where no one thought that because of an MFA, somebody could get hacked. It was one of the biggest hacks that we've seen in the past. Search about it. You'll figure out which one I'm talking about. So there are so many learnings from that we can get. You should know about all these attacks, how they happened, how the chaining of the vulnerabilities happened. Company never asks you to be 100% technical. No, they would never ask you because you're just coming out of the college. But I would say start getting hands-on. Learn from people. There's a try hack me, hack in the box we were talking about right in the beginning. You can actually get your hands dirty on them. It gives you really good exposure. I would have to admit that I still try hack in the box. I wouldn't leave a chance when I have to learn something new. So don't miss it out. Hack the box is a good one, good place to start off. There's another question. Can you suggest a learning path for a beginner in application security? I would say start learning the basics, read about it, understand how an application works. What are the different things which are part of application? What is client? What is server? What is a proxy? How exactly the data transfers? How do you write some code? When the code gets transmitted to the server, how exactly it goes through? People think that OSI model is just for networks. No, I can actually explain from OSI model wherein it goes from network to applications. It goes like a big loop that gets created. That's how data is transmitted. So that's important to learn. If you know your basics right, Trust me, no one can beat you. I can really argue on things which I know. It'll be more of a discussion. But if I don't know something which you know, I would keep quiet and learn from you. Be it you're just starting off, be it you're 10 years, be it you're 40 years in the industry. Make sure if you're not confident about something and somebody is telling you, learn from them. That's the key. Is it difficult to switch from CTFs to bug bounties? Trust me, no. It is not at all difficult. It is just that when you talk about bug bounties, you're going from a mindset that I'm going to earn something. No. Go with a mindset that you're learning something, and then if you're getting something out of it, it's just a win-win for you. Start with that mindset, you'll find more bugs. That's what I've seen with people. And let me actually share an information with you. Oh, just give me a second. Sorry. Let me share a link with you. Okay. So I keep sharing a lot of resources here, wherein how you can get into cybersecurity. There are different people. I have had discussions. What are the CISO perspective in InfoSec? I've shared that. So there are different aspects that I keep sharing. You can take help from it. The actual question was how to transition from CTFs to bug bounties as they're finding it difficult. Okay, so CTFs, which you play for different platforms. Bug bounties, first you need to register yourself. You need to look for the company who have the bug bounty open, and then you start exploiting. And also make sure when you are transitioning, read the terms and conditions. The difficulty will always be there. I understand the mindset shift and the rules and processes, because in CTF, you have to find a flag and be done with it. In bug bounty, you have to change the vulnerabilities, where exactly things can be problematic. For example, look at this recent hack which happened. There was a person who actually tried to do the social engineering and get the MFA said yes, that I want to do it. Or there was a token that was there. Some people say it was a authentication mechanism where you have to click yes to give an approval for MFA. Some people said it's a token that the person took via social engineering. So if you are my friend via social media, I would say, oh, there's a code that has been given. I'm trying to log in. It's not happening. There are so many things that you can do and you're finding it. Similarly, this person was a bug bounty hunter, tried to do things. Now, when that person landed in, started other things changing. Similarly, when you register for bug bounty programs, start reading reports. It's important. If you found a bug, it will not be accepted if you've not written a good report. In CTF, you don't have to do it. Start writing good reports. That's very, very important. And that will help you in your official job as well. Because when I was an application security analyst, I had to write good reports. Or the client would say, oh, I can't accept this report. I would never accept this report. There's nothing. Developer would say, oh, no, we are discarding this report. So start reading HackerOne, BugCrowd, integrity reports. Let's start there, and rather than anything. And even when you're learning from those reports, they'll give you an idea that, okay, this is how I can also try. When there's a bug in one of the application, it's not just impacting that application, it's impacting other applications as well. So you might want to try. Since you're a penetration technician, tell me how much time you usually spent in recon before analyzing. It totally depends, Nehal, that how much time I actually spent. Now, so you have to get done with an application security testing in 2-3 days. Earlier, we used to get 1 week to 2 weeks time to understand the application, what application does, how many users are there, can I pivot around these users, all of those things, what all information which is available on the internet, what all tools I can use. A lot of times I found certain contracts which are super confidential on the internet because they were cached. People thought, oh, how could that happen? but they were there online. So all of those things, I would say, it depends. But again, recon is a very important aspect, but you have to set up your own process. What all recon tools you're going to use, whether you're going to be doing a web app reconnaissance or browser reconnaissance, or you're going to be doing something over the social media, you're going to be checking through Shodan, what exactly you're going to be doing it. And recon and OSINT are like somewhat interrelated. So you have to be very cautious, but you have to make your own methodology to start and do that. I wouldn't say that you can do it in 5 minutes, you can do it in 1 day. I have taken 2 days also. I have taken 3 days also, because my brain was that. And I knew, okay, this is what I found. Now I have to start chasing something else. So that's what I've done. What will you just start in bug bounties? HackerOne, bug crowd findings, VDPs, with docs. I wouldn't suggest anything here, because Google Docking has become so common that anyone can do, and that you should do always. When it comes to HackerOne, bug crowd, or any other platform, you can register for all the 3. I'm registered for all the 3. When I sit down, when I don't have anything to do, I sit down and just try everything. It's on you, and you have all the time right now. So you just can't say that I'm going to start with Google Docking or I'm going to start with some other things. No. The first thing, just keep in mind, understand the application. Attacks comes afterwards. Understand what the application is, what's the functioning, how exactly the input points are. Because a lot of times I don't even know the input points and I start attacking an application. I don't find anything. And that can happen. You keep banging your head and you can't do it. Again, there's another question. How much time to spend usually for a bug bounty? It can take days. So when I share this series, there's a bug bounty hacker from India. I'm going to cover another one, Sandeep Singh, because he started Project Discovery. Very interesting project. Now, they always say, it depends. Sometimes you find bug in like half an hour. I have found SQL injection is just half an hour. For one cross-site scripting, it took me 2 days. So you can't say that it's time boxed. It can never be. But you should decide when you are on that project, whether I have to go further or not. You have to waste time or not. You should know where to stop. That's important. And that only comes with experience. Even if I say, oh, you should stop after 2 days, no, that might be wrong. Automation is the key for testing any application. That's why we have these tools. Never shy away in using these tools. But there are certain things like business logic testing you would have to do manually, but automate as much as humanly possible. There are tools and techniques which are there, like Zap also can be automated. Work can also be automated. There are APIs which are available. Start using them. I'm always in favor of automation. If you have the bandwidth to automate them, use it for your benefit. There are so many there's so many plugins which have been written for OWASP, Zap, and even Burp Suite, which are by the volunteers. You can actually write one. You can automate, you can create your own scripts. My favorite one would be SSRF, any day. Out of bound SSRF, where you can get any information about the server. So my favorite one has been SSRF. Because for SSRF, it seems simple, but then I have to set up my own server from where the client would be connecting, but it'll feel like that actually the client is connecting to the actual server. So it's a nice one. Even if you don't know read about the Capital One hack, the credit card breach, it's one of the biggest credit card breaches that have happened. It was an SSRF where a client actually was uploading a picture for the card, and then they saw that it's an AWS account. They started manipulating, and then they realized they could manipulate much more details. They could scrub the information from the backend. And actually this lady did. It was a lady, and it was a big breach. Which technologies? I use Python. I love Python, but depends on you. I'm a big fan of Python, which helps me do a lot of creative stuff. So I'm a big fan of Python. If you can learn bits and pieces of Python, it can really help. Really, really help.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering all of these questions. As we move to the end of this ceremony, Pranjali, I would like you to take over.
Thank you, Chinmay. As we conclude, we would like to thank Vandana ma'am for her presence at our inaugural event. Thank you so much, ma'am. We would also like to thank Pateja sir, Rakesh sir, and Sarvanan sir for guiding us throughout. A special thanks to the audience for attending the event.
To familiarize you all with OWASP, we have come up with a Capture the Flag challenge for you all. Please visit the link that you have received on your registered email and start the challenge. For those that are new to it, we have also added a manual. You may start the challenge after going through that manual.
Thank you so much, everybody, for making this event a success.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Pateja sir. Thank you, Rakesh sir. Thank you, Sarvanan sir. And a great thank you for Vanna ma'am.
Thank you so much.
And thank you,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for praising us.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for your great sharing your expectations.
Thank you.